Deadrock is back, and we start where we left off with Freya showing up and saying she's going to fight Fiji. Obviously, everyone is against it, and in fact, they even tried to stop her. But the fact is, she's going to have to do this no matter what, because God is saying this is a fight to the death. And so Freya's point is basically, if I'm going to die anyway, I might as well die fighting. As for her severed arm being reattached, I assumed last chapter it was probably the nurse's office, but no, it was Makoto. She just zombified it. So yeah, it's still a dead arm. It's been turned into a zombie, basically. Fortunately, Makoto's necromancy still allows the zombies to feel pain based on what we've seen from Ryzen, so the arm should still have the sensation of touch to it. Fraja's last words to Yakuto are basically, I'll meet you in the finals. She goes off to fight, and Yakuto takes Sasuna's body out of the way. Funny enough, Sasuna is still alive for a few more seconds, and her last moments are basically to tell Yakuto that her friend was being controlled by this silver fog. This stirs up a memory in Yakuto where he remembers his dad saying that God was acting different, which means Yakuto now has one more clue trying to figure out who God is. Of course, that'll all be answered once he reads the book, which we seem to have completely forgotten about all this time. The fight between Eiji and Freya begins. Eiji's disappointed because he doesn't want to fight someone who's already beat up, and Freya's response is basically to hit him with a flaming fist. And after that, he begins to then rethink himself, because she's still beat up, sure, but she did beat a teacher, so this might be a fight worth having. Eiji then accelerates to the point where no one can see him. He's able to get a hit on Freya, but she's then starting able to track him, and is actually able to counterattack. But then he accelerates even faster. Before, he was basically just a streak of after images. Now he's just completely invisible. He's moving that fast. He gets a few more hits on Freya, but she's slowly tracking him because even though everyone else can't see him, she still can, and she's actually able to get a shot in on. And he goes flying for a second. When he gets back up, he's actually smiling because he realizes it's actually going to be a fun fight for him. Yakuto finally shows back up with the rest of his friends. He asks what's going on, and they're all quite happy. They're basically all in agreement that Freya's winning. Well, except for Ryzen, who notices that she's completely out of breath, clearly indicating that while she has the physical strength at this moment, she doesn't have the stamina thanks to her previous injuries. Then Ryzen, for some reason, starts to look across the crowd. I don't know why he does this, and he's so focused on the fight, but he sees the guy who killed his princess. And the first thing he does is immediately go after him. Obviously, everyone else is confused with what he's doing. Why isn't he there cheering on Regia? But it's clear Ryzen has two goals. One is to kill this man, and the other is to free his princess from the sword that he carries around. Back to the fight, Eiji charges in. That's when Freya actually collapses. Then that's when everyone else realizes what Ryzen realized earlier, which is the fact that Freya's exhausted. She has nothing left in the tank. Eiji then transforms into a werewolf, kicks Freya into the air, and then does a multi-combo on her before she hits the ground. Lilith then asked if the werewolf is also an origin point, and God's like, no, that's just a transformation. If Eiji was an origin point, then he would have won this fight already, which means Freya actually has a chance of winning because she is an origin point. So while she is exhausted, she has the overwhelming advantage in power. Freya then grabs Eiji and then does a massive fireball which just launches him to the ground. And after the two land, they stand back up and they just stare at each other for a second. Basically, they're about to do their one final attack, like happened with her and Laozen. But based on how the story is going, I'm going to assume it's not going to be the same this time. The one who's going to fall from the final attack is probably going to be Freya. And the final page we get is Laozen confronting Hannibal the Betrayer, the man that killed his princess. And in this panel, we see the little grayish silver thing coming off of him, heavily indicating that he betrayed the princess and Laozen because he was also being manipulated. So my guess is we're going to get the full story of what this thing is when we read God's book, but we're going to get a little hint at it in the next chapter, which is a pretty common thing in manga where they like to sprinkle out little hints here and there of storytelling throughout chapters. So hey, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up so you can enjoy more Deadrock and other my things. Thank you, and have a great day.